One.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Dash Trader's #1 Best Trader Spring Novice Competition. This is our first week review. This is brought to you by NASDAQ and Dash Trader. This is the #1 Best Trader competition. As you know, my name is Michael DeJoy. I'm the Director of Educational Services, and I'm a licensed professional, and I work here with Dash Trader. So I will be your host when Jill is not here. Jill will be joining me, of course, next week. Markets are near their all-time highs. The big question here in the market is whether or not the rally will continue. Very often, and if anybody has not already taken a look at our blog, very often when markets make shallow new highs or get extremely exhausted to the upside, sometimes that can lead to a steep sell-off. Now, obviously, we have not seen anything like that just yet, but certainly it is something to be mindful of, that the market and PEs, and we're certainly going into earnings season now, PEs are at all-time record highs, price-to-earning ratio, as well as the markets being at all-time highs. Now, that might just be due to the weakness of the U.S. dollar. The dollar has gotten significantly stronger as of late, and the markets have also continued to get stronger, so that's a pretty good sign, although it is a divergence. Also, in other news, and this might be why the dollar is getting stronger, 1 in 5 Americans are now completely vaccinated. That is literally 20% of the country has gotten the vaccine, 2 shots of the vaccine, and they are completely vaccinated. And that is a really good sign for the country. It's a really good sign for the economy, because potentially the United States will be completely back in business this summer. And we are gearing up for summer. I know everybody here in the New York area certainly is looking forward to the summer. So possibly we might be seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Now, the one thing that we do need to be a little bit aware of and worried about is the possible double mutation and additional mutant strains that have now become the dominant type of coronavirus in the United States. I believe the 2 dominant types of coronavirus that are now spreading the infection are the strain from the United Kingdom and the strain that came up from Brazil. Brazil mainly spreading in the Miami area, and the UK variety in the rest of the country, specifically Michigan, New York, and in California. So these are some things that we could possibly see an increase in, but needless to say, the United States is probably only behind the United Kingdom and Israel. Israel is the most vaccinated country in the world. The United Kingdom is reaching herd immunity. Obviously, they were hit very, very bad with the UK strain. But certainly, we are starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel after an entire year of pandemic craziness. But certainly, we will continue to watch and monitor the mutant strains and the double mutant strain coming from India. And that brings us to the next item. Okay, will there be a post-pandemic economic boom, or is there still more trouble ahead? And I just want to mention that quite possibly we can see a post-pandemic roaring 20s type situation. The roaring 20s was what immediately followed the pandemic of the Spanish flu in 1918, 1919, 1919, and 1920, and then started the roaring 20s, which was a time of massive economic expansion. Now, the one thing that we have not seen is the full effect of the damage to the economy. Will the economy recover? There's an awful lot of loans out there. There's an awful lot of businesses that are reeling from the post-pandemic, reeling in the post-pandemic world. We also have lots of people who are teetering or staying in their homes and their apartments only because of the moratorium on evictions. So we don't know the full damage of the pandemic on the real estate market. We don't know the full damage of the pandemic on the hospitality industry. We are hoping that these industries will roar back and that we will have a situation like the roaring 20s. But we just don't know. So we'll be monitoring that situation closely. I'll be giving you updates each and every week. And on that note, let's jump right into our competition overview of our week 1 of our novice competition. That's running from April 5th through April 9th. So we have week 1 of the competition, April 5th to April 9th. And you can see from our results here that we are just coming out of the gate. And you can see that one trader, Best 541, had a $601 gain today, up 9,400, 9,500 in total gains. We have Best Trader 536, okay, $1,900 up for today, bringing him neck and neck, him or her, neck and neck with Best 541. And then you can see that we have Best 959 up $980 today, up 5,500 for the competition so far. But what you can see overall is that if you are green, you are in the top 5. If you just made any money at all, you are in the top 5. And if you look here at Best 529, who did not make any money today, did not trade today, but is up $500 in the competition, they are sitting there at spot number 5. We have 3 traders that did not really trade at all, but because they haven't lost any money, they are not in the bottom of the standings. And you can see that even one guy or lady, Best 974, who's down $991 in the competition, is just on the leaderboard because they haven't lost too much. So just making money at all will get you in the top 10 spot of the traders competition at this point in time. Now, we expect that to change in the coming weeks, but that's certainly an interesting note, is that not losing keeps you in the top of the standings. So on that note, I'm going to jump right along and talk about our top 5 stock picks. So we have AFMD is the #1 stock pick. And you're going to see when I bring up the charts, I'm going to bring them up here on my Dash Trader. I'm going to be going through my charts a little bit, going through some of the indices as well. You can see that AFMD, it was one of our big gapping stocks. We also have Fubo, FUBO, GENE, GOVX, and Rice as our top 5 stocks in the competition this first week of the competition. You're going to see these are kind of these one-hit wonder stocks, these stocks that have gapped and gone and get everybody's attention. Now, I want you to look at the trade count on here. So you're going to see that we have some usual suspects. We have Eyes on there. We have British Petroleum on there. We have Mara on here. We have Tesla on here. We have Myrna Pharmaceutical. And of course, one of our old favorites, always seems to be one of the top traded stocks, is NEO. So you see a fair bit of the common stocks. You can see a lot of the profits were made on the ones at the bottom of our list for the day. So certainly NEO, STZ, and Tesla, as well as Myrna, were some of the big, the high price ones that are there at the bottom of the list. They were also actively traded, although they did not get a lot of share volume. AFMD, the biggest share count, and of course FUBO and the others that I had already went through. So let me jump real quick to the to my Dash Trader software, and we can take a look, and you'll see exactly why Rice is one of our top traded stocks. The first one that we're going to look at is RICE. All right, everybody, you should be seeing my Dash Trader software, and I'm just going to go through and talk a little bit about the Dash Trader software. So right here, we have our level 2 screen. This is our market maker window. We have our level 2. Now, you can see that Rice just had, I believe it just had some kind of a news announcement or earnings. It is literally running up the tape right now as we look at it, as we watch it on our screen here. So you can see there was a long-term consolidation. We have a big gap and go, a pullback, and then a secondary breakout, a day 2 play, breaking out above the prior day's high. So you can see why this stock clearly is on the most actively traded list. It is a breakout pattern. It is a stock that has broken out of a long-term range, never previously above $14, and now it has broken above $14 for the last 2 days. So let's take a look at this on our 5-minute chart. Beautiful consolidation, a breakout of the consolidation, and then stair stepping all day. Finally breaking out here as a late day breakout in the end of day and the end of in the post market as well, moving quite significantly higher from $17.25 all the way up to $18.20. So there we have it on RICE. I'm going to flip back to my daily chart. I'm going to go to the number one most active stock traded in the competition as RICE continues to run. So here is AFMD. Okay, AFMD was trading at about $8. Today it pops up to $10 and just above $10.20 on the open, and it gaps up, it runs up. And let's take a look at the 5-minute chart on this. I'm going to make my 5-minute chart just a little bit bigger so we can see it a little bit better. So we can see in the pre-market, you can see here in the pre-market, and that's one of the things I wanted to point out to everybody. If you right-click and you go to Data Configure on the Dash Trader software and you want to include the pre-market, you can include it by Show Pre and Post Market by hitting that checkbox, hit Commit. If you want to take it off, you hit Data Configure, you just uncheck it, and then voila, it is gone. So there is the big gap up on AFMD. But let's say we want to see what was going on in the pre-market and why it was so actively traded. Let's take a look at that. You can see that it blasts off right from the early morning on AFMD. We run all the way up to 1120 at the high. Some sucker bought it all the way up there at 1120. And sure enough, it starts to fade in some more as people start to take their profit on this one-hit wonder of a stock. It fades slightly after the open. So it fades from the 1070 high, and it fades all the way down to 960 area. 960, it bounces back up to 1001, and then fades back down to $9.30 at the low, closing at $9.72. But because of all that action, and we know that the number one best trader competition, traders love to short a stock. On this big gap up, there was a lot of short selling and a lot of short action on this as it had jumped up to a new all-time high. And if you look back on the chart, we can go onto the weekly chart. This is an all-time high for AFMD. Next stock that we're going to take a look at, I'm just going to pop back onto my daily chart. Let's take a look at FUBO. This stock is starting to come back to life. It had a tremendous run. It did have a bad earnings report last quarter. And it reports at the end of earnings season. So that explained that little sell-off there. That was the big sell-off on earnings right there, right about there. But certainly, let's take a look at this stock. It has just kind of gapped up from a little bottoming W formation. So it kind of got obliterated. It was as high as $60. It pulled all the way back to $20. And it has now gapped up and run up to just below 26.25. And it has pulled back subsequently. Okay, let's take a look at this on the 5-minute chart and see how it ran today. So you notice on the open, we had a little pullback, and then it broke the high of the day, and then it went straight up, all the way up, hitting 25 at the high. So that explains for why we had a lot of trading action today. It made a tremendous run up, makes a pennant formation, and I'm just going to show you how we draw a pennant formation here on our Dash Trader chart. So this is a trend line with ray, meaning that it extends out like a ray of light. So this is called a ray trend line, say ray line. And I'm going to do another ray line right here. And sure enough, there's the apex, but it does not break out to the upside. It fails to break higher out of this pennant and then pulls back. Okay, now if I am going to snap on here, let's just see Fibonacci. So let me take a look at some Fibonacci retracements here. So I just drew on my Fibonacci retracement lines. And if you notice that from this move up, right, we have pulled back. I'm just going to do it a little bit differently because I think I want to just configure this slightly different. Let me just hit delete. So here's our Fibonacci lines right there. So we can see that it pulls back and retraces to right to our 61.8 Fibonacci retracement level. And you can see here that after the pennant breaks, okay, it tries to consolidate within the 38.2 level. Okay, it tries to consolidate in the upper level to make another move higher. It does not. It pulls back to this 50% line, pulls back further, and finally finds its legs right there at the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement level. And guys, the reason I am covering all of these is I want you to realize how flexible and how powerful your dash trader charts are. Now, I want you to realize that if we were looking at this in order to trade it, it tells us at 61.8 or $22.89. That's the level to buy this, which is the deepest yet still bullish retracement level. And our software told us that by drawing our fib retracement lines properly on our charts and then watching for a good level. Now, obviously, it didn't make a tremendous bounce back up, but from that 22.88 level, it did bounce back up to the 23.50 level. Nice little trade on that. But certainly our dash trader software helped us identify the level that it did bounce. So that's that on Fubu. Let's take a look at Gene. Gene, very similar kind of pattern. I mean, we just kind of get this pop and drop. These are called poppers and droppers. It pops and breaks out above its moving average on the daily. It kind of has a habit of doing that, Gene. It pops up, but then it runs into selling pressure here at these higher price levels. So it looks like it's got 5.80, 580, 560. That area over there seems to be a level of resistance. And once it gets into that area, the people who bought it a couple of months back say, oh my God, this is a great place for me to get out. And certainly the stock gets knocked back, but that's GENE, another very, very active stock today. And not last but not least, we already did AFMD, Fubu, Gene, and Rice. Let me just see if there's any other stocks that I was supposed to go over. Oh, GOVX. GOVX. Okay, another one of our one-hit wonder pop and drop stocks. You can see that this stock also has a tendency to spike up. This is very common for biotech stocks. They have a tendency to pop up and then they lose their gains because the people who got in them here at these high levels, they want to get out. So as soon as they get back to their prior highs, people take their profit. Huge volume day for GovX. Let's take a look at the 5-minute chart. You can see it has that same pattern, kind of breaks out in the morning and then runs up. Let's snap our fib lines on here. So Dash Trader gives us some great fib line indications. Here's our 10% retracement, 23% retracement, 38.2% retracement, 50% retracement, and this one breaks bearishly back down to the area from which it came. So here we have GOVX. Really not retracing according to Fibonacci retracement rules, but getting completely obliterated and selling back to the level that it came from. Let's take a look at some of the big name stocks like NIO, NEO. Now on these stocks, I like to take a look at them on the daily chart. Certainly has a little bit of a, like I'm going to say kind of like a head and shoulders type formation, but it does look like it's put in a low and then a higher low. So it's a low, higher low, higher low. I would really keep an eye on NIO for a breakout higher to around the 46 level. Another one of our favorite stocks to watch is always our old favorite, old standby AMD at 82.73, trading in a sideways consolidation, but certainly might be breaking out above its moving average for the first time in a while. Let's take a look at the actual markets themselves at all-time highs. But notice that the volume is getting less and less. So this is a very, very important indicator that most new traders fail to look at. That volume is on the decline. So there's one trend line with the volume. And then here is the other trend. So you can see that the volume has dropped precipitously. Okay. Now that's saying that traders and investors are not interested in buying the S&P at these levels. Okay. That's what it tells me. The NASDAQ is putting in a double top. It's revisited its high. So double top. Watch for a double top drop. Look at the volume on the NASDAQ. Institutions who have large positions need to sell lots of securities. And certainly this is a great place to get out if you've been holding anything for a period of time. I would say that this is a fantastic place to preserve some profits and ring fence some of your profits if you have them. That's on the QQQ. And here is the breakout on the DIA. And I want to talk a little bit about the DIA because the DIA is the beneficiary of the inflationary trade. So as we see inflation come back into the market, you will see more and more people, more and more traders getting into the DIA, and the NASDAQ certainly could be under pressure. It has a lot more exposure to interest rate pressure than the DIA. Now, last but not least, it's been a big hot item lately. Let's take a look at GBTC, which tracks Bitcoin. Certainly, Bitcoin has gotten a little bit long in the tooth, but it's been holding up here at the highs. Bitcoin has made a tremendous run, and GBTC is an exchange-traded fund tracking stock created by Grayscale, and it has run all the way from the $12, $14 range up to $49.68. Not the all-time high at 58, but certainly a great run. So that is GBTC. And then last but not least is ETHE, which did make a big run right before it split. And now it's back at its or near its all-time highs at $22, $20.40, and $23 on the actual stock chart. So certainly has made a good run on the ETHE. So certainly keep an eye on that one. That tracks Ethereum. It's also the Grayscale tracking stock for Ethereum. Now, guys, this is a mention. This is the USO. Keep an eye on USO or USL. So USO and USL. So USO, the difference between USO and USL, USO is the forward futures contract that tracks oil prices. And USO has made a tremendous run off its lows. In the very beginning of the pandemic, it bottomed out at $0 a barrel and actually $20, $25 on the actual tracking stock. It has now rallied all the way back up to $40. But USO is probably set to break out, and the USL as well. So what happens as people start coming out of their houses and they've been inoculated with the vaccine, certainly I think that oil can start to make a move back to the upside. And the ones that I would watch are things like BP and ExxonMobil, XOM. So these stocks all look like the same kind of chart as the USO, as they are oil companies, and oil looks like it's getting ready to do a pre-summer breakout as people start to travel again. Now, that's not worldwide. Obviously, that's more focused on the United States. But certainly, I think that the United States is looking like it's finally getting a break after the very, very long and difficult one-year pandemic. So on that note, I'm going to jump back to my slides. And I hope you found that analysis helpful. And we'll be doing exactly the same kind of analysis next week. So if you join us here live next week, we'd love to have you. And we can certainly take a look at some additional stocks. If anybody wants to email them in, you can email them to our Dash Trader support. And then you could also send them to info@onebesttrader.com. I just want to go through and talk a little bit about the competition, and this is to all of our competitors. Make sure you review your strategy. You got a lot of time left. You got 3 weeks, 3 solid weeks to go through the competition. If you have you been successful so far? Now, we know that 4 or 5 of you are actually profitable. Everybody else just hasn't lost a lot of money, or at least the top 10. If you haven't been successful, maybe you want to revise your strategy. What trading mistakes have you made? So far, what have you learned? Certainly, I want you to say that you have plenty of time still left in the competition. And if you just make small, consistent gains each and every day, you have plenty of time to take the lead in the competition. Yes, some people are up $9,500, but that doesn't mean they're going to stay up $9,500 for the rest of the competition. Even those good traders can have some bad days. And certainly, you can see the competition is heating up. if you have any additional comments or things that you'd like to see or find out about in our competition overviews, we're going to be doing this every single week during the competition. So please go to check out the number1besttrader.com site. You can also email us questions at info@onebesttrader.com. If you have, if you don't know already, the novice spring competition runs through April 30th. Visit onebesttrader.com for more information. Follow us on social media at onebesttrader. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook, as well as Instagram at onebesttrader. So basically just whichever social media outlet you like, followed by One Best Trader, the number one best trader. For Dash Trader updates, you can certainly subscribe to our YouTube channel at Dash Trader TV. Follow us on social media at Dash Trader. And certainly you can check us out on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And make sure you don't miss out. I have a number of new videos coming out on how to use indicators on your Dash Trader charts, as well as I have a new series coming out on styles of trading. And you can certainly find out about opportunities to coach and work with me as a trading mentor. Have a great day, everybody. Wonderful weekend, and see you all next week in the Dash Trader competition, number one best trader. Bye-bye, everybody. Great weekend.